Well, Mayor Zach, welcome back again. Thanks for making time for us here. I know it's a busy week for you here. If you're not running around somewhere else, you've got, well, something like this that you're going to grand open here in Demet Park, just across from the Aspirus Hospital. I mean, we've been down here a couple of times, and now you finally get to see a finished product.
That's right. It's pretty exciting because it was a long construction period, especially because the riprap and riverbank stabilization took a process, and of course all the park amenities that went associated with it really has been a long time. And then to have all the fixtures finally show up, they were installed earlier this fall. But yes, we are in Demet Park. This is the first phase of the riverfront renewal that Wisconsin Rapids is embarking on. So we're pretty excited. We just celebrated the grand reopening of the park this last Saturday, and the park was made possible, the renovations were made possible in part by a DNR grant from the Knowles Nelson Stewardship Fund. So we received just under $700,000 from the state to help support riverbank stabilization and the installation of a lot of these features. So some of the features that I'd like to point out are picnic tables and some of the seating areas, as well as grills. Historically, our parks, riverfront parks, have not had grills, so if somebody wanted to have a picnic and grill out on the riverfront, they couldn't do so unless they brought kind of their own grill and set up their own get-up. But so we're pretty excited to celebrate the opening of this park. The other important features that I think are worth mentioning are the fact that community members came forward during the design process and said, you know, we'd really like to put fitness stations in one of the parks in the city. And it just so happened to be that we were planning some activity spaces within the park, and we said, you know, why not consider the riverfront? And so it's been really encouraging to see Saturday mornings, for example, groups coming down here to work out in the fitness park, in the fitness stations. Some folks have even remarked that they've canceled their summer gym membership because they've been able to come make use of the park, which is pretty cool. It's obviously part of a 25-mile trail system. So folks that are running or biking or walking through the trail system can stop and get a workout in right here in Demet Park. The river behind us, you know, we've made these spaces possible, and it's worth mentioning that the Wisconsin Rapids section of the Wisconsin River is probably the most unique in that it runs right through the center of our city, and it's offers so much in terms of programming here in the park spaces that we've got along the riverfront.
I know they can see it in the screen behind you. River is still full. I mean, we've been talking about that quite a bit too. The riffraff and the procedures that you went through with that last year actually, kind of came at just the right time because of the historic precipitation that we've had this year. So it's a project that really helped in multiple areas, environmentally and of course providing a space outdoors for residents.
No question. Yeah, and all of the spaces in here are designed to withstand flooding events, right? Because it is next to the riverfront, it had to go through DNR permitting, but all the engineering from the sidewalks that were all reinforced to the riverbank stabilization, we wanted to preserve these spaces because we knew through flooding events and the recurring nature of those types of activities and perhaps more substantial flooding events, that we needed to preserve these spaces or we're going to lose them and continue through erosion. And now we've got a brand new riprap riverbank through the stabilization project, a nice fishing pier, all the spaces within the park, even from getting to from the high grade at the hospital down here, is an ADA accessible ramp. So folks that might be using a mobility aid, a walker, a cane, or a wheelchair can get into the park safely. So it's really accessible and available to all members in our community.
And this park connects to other parks, as you mentioned, as part of the trail system in downtown. So you can come here and get to another park in another part of town without ever having to worry about traffic or vehicle traffic that is on the streets.
That's right. Yeah, the expressway, that's sort of, you can't see it, but was constructed in the 70s, and there was very little regard or accommodation for pedestrians or bicyclists. So with this project, we install an under-bridge connection for all of those users to be able to get safely across the expressway underneath the bridge in this case. So it connects really the neighborhoods from the north to the south and vice versa. But yes, it's part of a 25-mile trail system, something that we really pride ourselves on having in this community. We maintain it even throughout the winter months to provide those that want to stay active that time of year the space and the ability to get outdoors and recreate.
And again, you mentioned the fitness equipment. I think we do have some of it in the background here. We see some sort of uneven bars just behind us. I'm not going to get you to give us a demonstration of how to use the fitness equipment. I'm sure in your suit and tie, but just give us an idea of what that brings to the table. I mean, what kind of certain workouts are there for people that might be running or biking the trails that want to do something else, some body weight based workouts?
That's right. They're all body weight based workouts, and we've got things from monkey bars to pull up bars to sit up machines, leg lifts, some of the box jump kind of variations, dips, push-ups, the whole bit is all served right here. And it became possible through donations from the community that said, you know what, we like that idea, we'd like to offer that. So it's been really neat to see couples maybe working out together down here in a space that's literally available 24/7, obviously when the park is open and the weather is nice, but it offers our community so much. And I think because of the beautiful banks of the Wisconsin River, why not utilize it more? It's been said over and over, Wisconsin Rapids needs to use its riverfront more, and we're doing that here now for the first time with the addition of all of these features.
And of course, some of these features and these amenities, it goes into economic development as well. I mean, we just here 3-4 weeks ago on our very rainy day down here at Wisconsin Rapids, is actually the rain just kind of starts on us right now, so we'll hopefully wrap this up here in a few minutes. But nonetheless, Metalco groundbreaking. I mean, we were here for it. The Canadians were here for it as well. We got a chance to talk to them and how grateful they were to the city of Wisconsin Rapids and everything that it had to offer. Now that you've had a chance to digest it and maybe even start to see the progress be made there at the site in the Rapids East Commerce Center, I mean, how real does this feel now for this city and the big win that was the Metalco facility?
Yeah, nearly 2 years after we began talking with that company, they're finally breaking ground and they're making great progress on the construction of their aluminum plant here in Wisconsin Rapids. It was really a great celebration because it was the first time in many decades that Wisconsin Rapids brought a new industry to the community, and that aluminum extrusion with billet and that will be produced out at their facility in the Rapids East Commerce Center. So over the course of probably 12 to 18 months, their construction cycle will happen. They'll hire as many as 300 contractors. I know just today they've got 50 people showing up to that job site every day to work on construction activities. So it's got an economic benefit during the construction process. So we're very excited to celebrate alongside those guys and their team who made that project possible. We were one of 18 sites that they continued to work through the evaluation on. So it was really a fun occasion to say, we made it, we got it across the finish line, and they've obviously begun construction, and so they hope to be open sometime next fall and create 80 jobs initially, and they've got plans to grow that facility even beyond that initial 80.
And that was exactly going to be my next question, because they, again, hinted at it. They said we're purposely buying more land than we need out here. Do you get an indication from them that that could happen sooner rather than later, or is that something that is just going to be on the back burner yet for a while?
Well, I think it's very dynamic in that a lot of the trade activity that's being talked about is, creates pressures one way or the other on that industry. So they did buy an additional 20 acres. It was a 50-acre parcel. They're really only using about 30 of it in this first phase. So in our negotiations, when they said, well, we want you to put rail access, we want you to do this and that, we said, okay, well, what are you going to do for the community in the process, in the exchange? And certainly they agreed to a phase 2 within a span of time. So within 10 years, they'll break ground on that second phase and whatever that'll entail. We kept it as sort of flexible as possible to accommodate their needs, but certainly to protect the taxpayer and resident interests that we have in the investments that we're making in the incentives like the rail infrastructure, like I said, the power grid, as well as some of the other infrastructure that's being served to them for their plant and facility.
And speaking of being a member of the community, what have they committed to besides the 80 jobs, besides the facility? I mean, are we going to see some sort of Metalco Cares community partnership? I mean, are they going to be donating to nonprofits and things like that? Is that something you expect to see in the future?
We do, and we found that in talking with the other communities that they do business, they're a great steward of the community and the people that they work with and hire. And so we expect them fully to have a community engagement process. Of course, we're building a beautiful aquatic center and other things in the community that'll allow companies like Metalco to get their name on. So something that we're discussing with them, but we fully expect them to. So in exchange, they're investing $80 million. They're creating the 80 jobs. They're building the plant, but they're also committing a certain level of tax increment, what they agree that the value of that property and their investment in the facility would be worth. So from a tax-based perspective, they've made commitments. They've also committed to annually spend $4 million on wages. So their commitment to hire a certain number of people, but also the wage commitment. So we know that $4 million will circulate in our local economy, not to mention all the suppliers and customers they work with in Wisconsin Rapids or as far as Wausau to the north.
And then one more question on Metalco as well. In that area, because you mentioned the 80 jobs, the added traffic in that area, is there going to be, have you seen any ancillary business coming in? Maybe another, convenience store, quick trip like location, restaurants going to be in that area? Because that's a lot of traffic on a daily basis in that area, and that seems like that's primed for other jobs to come to that area not associated with the business.
Yeah, no question. I mean, there's a number of commercial zoned properties along Highway 54 and in that corridor in that area, so there will be ample opportunities for more development. With it being a new sector to the Wisconsin Rapids economy, which has generally been dominated by pulp, timber, and paper and forestry products, that project will then incentivize perhaps other industries to co-locate and be in the vicinity. So, not to mention their customers who are taking their product, but there may be other opportunities because they take all their aluminum and melt it down and re-extrude it. So it's really a closed loop, and it's got environmental sort of consciousness at its core. So we're really encouraged by that, and I think we're going to see, as time goes on, new business opportunities open up for those that operate in that sector.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. One more quickly then before we let you go, talk about city budget season. Of course, we are in there. How is the budget coming along down here in Wisconsin Rapids, and what can we look for in the next few weeks?
Yeah, so our budget process will go through the third week in November. So residents have priorities they want to communicate to myself or city council members. Certainly do so within that period of time. Budget debate and deliberations will begin this next week, and so we expect them to make their way through the process and get a budget passed by the third week in November. My budget has been prepared as a balanced budget, and very little tax increase, basically to support some of the other projects that we've got to finance over the next year. So some new street projects in the next year, street maintenance activities, as well as our aquatic center that we're building. We'll have our second portion of financing of that project as well.
So little to no change then as far as property taxes go down here for residents?
That's right. And we don't know what the other taxing jurisdictions, the school district, the county, the technical college will do, but at least for the city, speaking for the city's portion of that tax bill, keeping it as close to flat, if not a slight increase.
All right. Anything else that you'd like us to know then before we let you go here from the park? You're not going to give us any workout demonstrations here before you go?
No, you're not going to get that out of me today. I sure hope that we can continue to be on site. Let's make a commitment that November is not going to bring us any snow. We already saw snow last week, and so let's hope we can get outdoors. Maybe the sun will be shining, and maybe we'll get a little bit of an Indian summer here yet.
Why not? I'm all for that as well. We always appreciate the time, Mayor Zach, and again, we'll look forward to chatting again next month.
Thank you.